couple of days ago, I was speaking about the old-fashioned way that socialists think about the world. And for some reason, we're back to that, because I'm talking now about the way people with a socialist mindset aren't very light on their feet. You can see I have a companion here. Yeah. You see, last July, the new government was handed the sort of opportunity that might come once in an administration, an opportunity to turn this whole country around. It had that opportunity, and of course, they fluffed it. Well, actually, fluff isn't really the right word. What they actually did was such a disaster that describing it in the correct language would probably get me thrown off YouTube permanently. Okay, I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I felt angry, and I think the dog thought that I was upset. So instead of lying on the floor, which he usually does, next to me while I'm making these videos, he came up to give me a cuddle. Anyway, there are two ways the government could have dealt with the dreadful, pointless and horrible murder of innocent children. They could use it as an opportunity to enact laws that dealt effectively with extremism. Or they could use the incident to bring the full force of the law down on the heads of those who were calling for that very thing. And we all know what they chose. I suppose you've all got the news by now, but just in case you haven't, this was the story pushed in all the mass media, that the perpetrator was born in Cardiff to immigrant parents who came from a majority Christian country. So the general impression was that this chap was a Welshman and a Christian. The only group who didn't actually swallow that narrative was, well, everyone, probably. I'm not even sure the people who were writing the reports actually believed the story. But to help us along, the only pictures we were shown of him were of the school photograph type from when he was a kid of around, well, 12, I suppose. Now, so this is what we've got here, and this is the news from August. Suspect in Southport stabbings named as PM announces new capability to curb riots. So it's nothing to do with him now. It's how to curb the riots. So now it's pretty obvious that Axel Rudakubana was either from a Muslim family or somewhere along the line he'd converted. But if we didn't know for sure, the government did. And the government knew that, even if we didn't know for sure, although most of us had a pretty shrewd opinion. So while she was laying those flowers, or maybe instead of laying those flowers, Yvette Cooper and the cabinet could have gone into action. And what they could have done then and there was immediately to announce that this country has had enough of Muslim radicalism, and we're going to deport radical imams that might have turned this kid into this murderer. They could have said, right, we're going to deport people who originate this sort of behaviour and get some control. It happened in France recently. France expels Islamist imam who called for jihad against non-Muslims. The French authorities have deported a Tunisian imam who advocated for jihadi violence and Sharia law and expressed hatred towards non-Muslims and the French Republic. He came out with saying that the flag was satanic, and the next morning he was on a plane to Tunisia. He'd been living in France for around 30 years. And you see, what happened was there's a substantial left in France. And normally, when you try to deport troublemakers of that type, you get hordes of demonstrations in favour of the person who's being deported. But the government could have immediately silenced them. Because how could they make demonstrations over the dead bodies of 3 innocent little girls? Now, I know that sounds cold-blooded, but they could have taken that opportunity. All the groups on the left would have been temporarily silenced, and the government could have rushed a lot of laws through Parliament dealing with radical Islam. Just like the government of the time, and they were conservatives, rushed a lot of gun laws through Parliament after the Dunblane school shooting 20 years ago or so. The Labour Party could have made themselves the champions of the British people, but no, they chose the other path. The one they took was suppress the truth. Suppress the truth. That'll fix it. You don't tell the people anything, then nothing has happened, because the people need to be suppressed, controlled, shepherded, but never, ever to be heard. What a waste. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.